Instructor AJ for MBA 705. Yes, I have the beanie on. It is cold in Texas, believe it or not. And of course, cold is relative. Anything below 60 is cold in Houston. So I wanted to come to you this week as you're preparing for Milestone 3 and just kind of share some professional insight with you as it relates to, hiring key personnel to help you with your product or service, actually help you deliver your product or service, and some of the things you need to think about as it relates to that. Now, the company that I work for, I am partly responsible for hiring, or at least making those hiring decisions. And there are so many services out there like Monster.com, ZipRecruiter, you've heard it, putting the right people in front of you. But I also wanted to discuss some things that you might not have considered, and some things that you might take this information and be able to integrate it within your paper. Now, first and foremost, whatever you do, definitely follow the rubric. The rubric is all about pointing you in the right direction. In other words, it is the roadmap to help you successfully complete the assignment. And also remember, as you address each section in the rubric, be sure to use headings and subheadings as its APA, and then also validate whatever your position is with the cited source. Okay, and as you know, you have to have at least 5 scholarly sources. These papers are pretty short, and you should be able to get through these papers relatively quickly. Now, a couple of things that I go through, and I'm not going to say what company I work for again, but a couple of things that I look for is I look to see, one, how cross-functional can an employee or an independent contractor be when hiring them. In other words, can I hire someone that can handle more than one responsibility? In other words, and this actually kind of plays into the contingency plans. In other words, say if you have one employee or one independent contractor doing one thing, but say if they get sick, I mean, do you have a contingency plan that are actually not that you can put in place? Say another person that can take on those roles of responsibilities, so your product workflow will not be interrupted. And speaking of independent contractors, one of the trends, especially for us, because oftentimes when we take on clients, believe it or not, in this day and age, 2018, they don't even have websites. And building websites is not something that we do. However, for our service company, they definitely have to have a website. And you would think in 2018 that they would. So oftentimes we actually third party those services out to companies or services like or the independent contractors that are on Fiverr, Odesk, Elance, and that is how we do it. And that's how we're able to, whenever we start a project, make sure that our project workflow is not interrupted. And that is basically us hiring people remotely. So you have to think to yourself whether or not you can literally hire someone as a contingency plan remotely in the event, say, if you're an entrepreneur working for an existing company, an employee doesn't show up, and of course you got permission from like senior management in the real world to actually do that. And if you're an entrepreneur, how can you actually stack services on top of each other remotely by hiring outside people to help you get to bring your product or service to market. So those is just some of the things that I want. That's actually a big trend, working remotely, that I want you, when it comes to personnel, that is hiring the right people for the right price at the right time, I want you to consider, okay? And so, again, be sure to follow the rubric as it is your roadmap to a successful submission. As always, if you have any questions, please email me at a.johnson, 5 at snhu.edu, or if they're personal questions. But All course-related questions, milestones, discussion, etc., please post them in a general discussion thread inside of the discussion board area. Take care.